We're here today at the Cart Shed. It's a local charity, and I'm with Katie Eastall, who's the CEO of the charity. And we're here for just a little fireside chat around this wonderful location, just to understand a little bit more about the Cart Shed as a charity. So Katie, perhaps you could sort of start by telling us a little bit about the charity and how it all started. And whilst you do that, I'm going to make a cup of tea.
Well, the charity started in 2011, and the reason it did was that there were three people, myself, Patrick Rickson, who owns the farm here, and Jenny Watts, who was very keen on supporting a local enterprise. And we wanted to do something that enabled people to have a more compassionate response to the poor mental health that they might have been experiencing. So we opened for the first time. We were 1 day a week. We were working with around 10 individuals at the time. We had 3 members of staff, 2 volunteers and 3 trustees. And we are now a team of 15 with around 70 volunteers. And we are operating 9 sessions in a week, 2 or even 3 sessions in a day in different locations on the farm.
So it's expanded enormously, hasn't it, over the years? And I know when everybody comes in the morning, they all sit round a fire like this. So how important is that start to the day when they come and surround the fireplace?
It's a very important part. A lot of what we do as humans is based around ritual and the familiar. So coming in and knowing that at the beginning of the day, you'll have a cup of tea, you'll bring it around the fire. It's an opportunity to talk to the team that are leading the sessions about what people might want to do in the day, whether somebody's feeling that they need a bit of one-to-one support. And then at the end of that time, people might decide to go and get involved in some of the more physical activities, so some of the green wood work, splitting wood, creating sort of larger craft items. Others might want to stay around the fire and either talk or just sit quietly watching the fire, or perhaps even work on a small project like some whittling.
So how important do you think fire is to mental health?
It's one of those things that sounds very peculiar, but I think it's actually really important. That for millennia, we as a species functioned as communities. No one lived on their own. You needed to work as a team. And one of the things you did was to create fire, harvest the timber in order to make and maintain your fires. And off that fire, you would get warmth to keep you warm, particularly in cold weather. But it was also there to feed you. And then that fireside conversation, really important. It's where people would share stories, share their history. You'd learn about your civilization, about what was important to your culture. So it has been an integral part of who we are as humans, as I say, for millennia.
What is it that you think fire, does it help people to open up, do you think?
I think what's lovely is that you can sit and you can literally just be looking at the flames that are gently licking their way around the log. You can be looking at the fire and talking to somebody. You don't have to look at them. And often it's quite difficult for people to have eye contact when they're feeling distressed. So you can have a very open and compassionate conversation without having to look at someone. You can share experience. So a lot of what happens around the fire is what's called peer support. So people describe experiences that they've had, and then someone else who perhaps felt that they'd been the only person to have experienced that sort of response from somebody else, episode in their childhood, discovers they're not alone. And I think one of the most important things with what we do is actually to realise that we are not alone. That as individuals, there is a shared experience, and that's hugely important to us, because feeling alienated is often what those with poor mental health experience. So learning to connect, know you're not different and you're not weird and you're not strange. You've just had an experience that has adversely impacted you is really important.
Since you say actually about staring into a fire and not having to look somebody, I remember somebody saying to me that when you want to have a serious conversation with one of your children or something, is do it in the car because you're not looking at each other. So it's interesting you say about being able to have a focus.
It's exactly the same concept. So that being alongside somebody, so easy to say, but actually it's really important. So that you're there. I'm not going to be able to solve your problems, but I'm standing by you or sitting by you to support you as you are processing and coming to terms with what has happened and how you might be able to move forward really positively.
Katie, we're in a wonderful location here. So how important is the outdoors to mental health?
I feel the outdoors is really important to mental health. We are an animal at heart. We are a species and we came from the woods, and more of what we do in life takes us away from the natural, from the seasons, from the rhythm that the year gives us. There's a huge problem with mental health now, and I think that's got a lot to do with the fact that people are completely disconnected from the natural and from the cycle of the year, and therefore the cycles of life.
How specifically do you think a fire can help one feel better?
I think a fire has been a very important part of who we are and how we've developed. There's something deep within us that sees the fire, the hearth side. So, you know, in the very early days, sitting around an open fire outside or at home, the hearth, the fireside with the family, it's a place to gather. It's a place to commune with others. It is a focal point, it is a focus. Whether you're on your own or with others, you can lose yourself in the flames of a fire, just enjoying the gentle sounds. It quietens your thoughts and helps us just calm down.
I'm feeling very relaxed myself already. Certainly Wood's been supporting the cart shed now for, I think it's about 6 or 7 years, supplying you with firewood. How does it benefit the charity?
Well, put very simply, we couldn't function without it. We work outdoors year round, whatever the weather. Sometimes that's in heavy rain. During the winter, it can be in sub-zero temperatures. Being able to gather around a warm fire and have the ability to commune with others is really important. We then provide a hot meal every day for all our participants, and that's cooked in the woods, in our woodland kitchens, which are fueled by your logs. We've got 4 sites on the farm, of which somewhere between 2 or 3 are used each day we operate. 9 sessions each week, each with at least 2 fires. That's a lot of wood. And without it, for at least half the year, we wouldn't be able to function.
Katie, thank you so much for our little fireside chat. It's been really enlightening. Thank you for everything you do as a charity. It's absolutely fantastic and we really appreciate it.
Thank you.